Oh, yes, because the system we're using. I think that's all I'm going to say now. I think there's nothing else. Then it's over to Lisa and Anna.
Great. Thank you very much, Graham. And hello, everybody. We are very happy that so many people joined our consultation seminar today. And now Anna and I would like to give a very brief introduction and overview of the AI Pioneers project. So, Anna, would you like to say also
Hi,
something at the beginning?
yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ana Diaz from Portugal, and I will be co-presenting with Lisa. Let's go.
Great. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm Lisa from Bremen, from Germany. So I will just start the screen sharing. And I hope that everybody can see the presentation now properly in presentation mode. Yes? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so then, as I just said, a very brief introduction in our Erasmus Plus project. I'm sure some people of you already heard about our project and our objectives, but very briefly at the beginning, for those who haven't heard about us yet, the aim of the AI Pioneers project focuses on researching, of course, but also on promoting and evaluating the use of AI in adult education, but also, of course, in vocational education and training, so cross-sectoral here, with a specific focus on policy recommendations, toolkits, and the ethical implementation of AI also, as Graham just said at the beginning of this event. And yeah, we also want to support AI integration and new initiatives in VET and adult learning through the collaboration, of course, with stakeholders. And therefore, we want to create and develop a sustainable network of AI pioneers. Yeah, in the European countries, of course. And yeah, the term pioneer is drawn from the European Framework of Digital Competences for Educators. I'm sure you are familiar with this document, but yeah, pioneers question the contemporary digital and pedagogical practice, so to say, and are driven by the impulse to innovate education. And we thought this is a very suitable and appropriate term for our project. And so we are very interested to hear all of your views about the topic today. If we now take a brief look at the results of our project that we could already complete, and also focusing here on the European Framework of Digital Competences of Educators, we made an EU-wide survey and conducted 14 semi-structured interviews with AI education experts, which have been the basis for a supplement for the European framework addressing all those 6 competence areas focusing on artificial intelligence in education. And you can download this document via our project website. This is also the same regarding our AI toolkit, which we could already complete during the first half of the project. And here you can find a lot of AI tools and practical examples and also supplementary materials. So please feel free to click through and have a look at everything. And yeah, so very brief at the beginning. Now, Anna, it's your turn.
Yeah. Okay, I'm speaking about the European Reference Network of AI Pioneers. So we are organizing these events like this every 6 months. This is the third one within the reference network, and we started. We have now 470 members in our LinkedIn account. So the idea of the network is to share, to support members of the network and to share ideas and practices. Also, we are developing a community of practice in each country of the partnership. So important to refer the German community of practice, Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, and Greek. So I urge the Portuguese that are here in this conference to contact me for next events. So our aim with this reference network is to organize events, gather people together, and share practice. And please, Lisa, go ahead for the next slide. So the COPs are now getting established in each country, and the main aim is to create the synergies, to put teachers together and involve them in activities within each other, to produce new projects, to interconnect pioneers. So this is a very demanding activity that we would like to invite you all to participate in. Assess more channels and content-related knowledge. So we will be a vehicle, let's say, to put together ideas, projects, practices. And I urge you also to go through our toolkit that Lisa just presented, because this toolkit is has very good information about technologies, practices, a curriculum, very different kinds of ways of looking at AI for education. And so it's important to go through them via our website. Lisa, please. And so just to finish, because our presentation is not long, we want to invite you to the network and contact us to join us, our AI Pioneers LinkedIn network. So from there, we can share activity and be a member. So as I said, we have already 470 members. We want to grow and grow more in sharing activities of the members and in members. Also, we have in our website the newsletter that we issue, and you can, of course, using our project website to access blog posts and very interesting up-to-date information on AI in education. So that's all from me, Lisa.
Thank you very much. So I guess my colleague also posted the link to LinkedIn and our website in the chat. So if you have questions or anything, please let us know. You can contact us also via the contact formula of our website. And that's it, I guess. Graham, George.
Okay. Yeah, feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself if you want and to ask questions. We've got all kinds of media going here with these wonders of AI. Anyway, thank you for being brief. It's always difficult when you're planning the agenda for these sort of events. There's a temptation to talk for a long time because we've got a lot to say, but we really did want this to be a participative event and consultative event. So we're rattling through at a fair old speed. But now I'd like to welcome Alexandros, who has very kindly agreed to give us his perspective on AI. I think he said his title was AI in Ed, Ethics Aside. And I think he said to me before we started, it was going to be controversial. So we're over to Alexandros.
Thank you for inviting me here. Mostly we will focus on what UNESCO says about AI in education, and mostly is what I try to implement with my students, 6th grade primary public school in Cyprus last year. Let me share my screen, please. All right, I guess you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Great. Let me go into presentation mode. All right. So, yeah, this is a controversial, let's say, title because I want to encourage discussion. I'm a school teacher. I've got a PhD on information communication systems, but that's precisely the point. I think what's most important today is that I'm a primary school teacher for the past 25 years. And for the previous year, including this year so far, I've been using AI tools both for my preparation and also with my students. And we can elaborate more on that later. And what we try to do is try to get involved all the students in my school, use various tools wherever we thought that there was an added value regarding its use. I try to create a guide with my experience and how to use guides. So this is a guide that I created, translated in Greek, English. You can download it. It's a Creative Commons guide. That's it, but that's not the point in this presentation. What I'm going to discuss today actually is 4 different things. First of all, is the possibilities that open up with AI. The second one is AI and ethical issues. We already have at least some of the many. Then we're going to go into how teachers can use AI in this age, according to UNESCO guidelines as well. And finally, we're going to talk about the need for continuous teacher training, especially with all the possibilities that are opening up and are speeding up the inclusion of technology. So
Santos, if I can interrupt you a moment, I think you're on presenter's view at the moment. We're seeing the presenter's view rather than the full screen view.
Oh, sorry. Is that okay?
That's it. Perfect.
Okay, apologies for that. Apologies. So what are the possibilities? We know that possibilities are almost endless. We talk about personalized learning for the first time, truly personalized learning, where we create in a fraction of the time that we used to do whenever we actually did that using AI tools. Of course, that also means reduction of preparation time. And if we automate the procedure, we can also go with automatic feedback and support for students using AI tools. Of course, these are the ideal situations. But something we already use, for example, this is Google Gemini. We already use it to create instantly text that's tailored to the needs of our students for individual needs. And of course, we can create in mere seconds complete worksheets with exercises and activities for our students. I mean, this takes a fraction of the time that it will normally take us to create a worksheet. And this is part of the problem, actually, that it takes such a small amount of time to create this. But I want to keep that for the discussion, not now. So if you're having any questions about whether we are I can just copy paste and print it and give it to my students, and that's a very good point for discussion. But let's leave that for later on. And of course, we got even for presentation. I mean, to create a presentation, even a 10-slide presentation to use next day at school, it takes something between half an hour and 1 hour, whatever. But with tools like Gamma, which are AI powered, we can create anything in a fraction of that time it would otherwise require. And again, this is also a part of controversy. We're creating something about the pink dolphin of the Amazon River. Can either use to generate AI images or to use the AI tools to create it. And again, in seconds, this is something I didn't do a time lapse. This is actual time that it takes. In seconds, to going to create a complete presentation with content, with original text that can be derived either through the prompt or through a website or through a document. And it can even generate the images. And these are this is the actual presentation. But again, would you use that? Would you use that with your students? Would you use whatever it's creating right now as it is with your students? So that's another question we can discuss. And of course, this is something I've been using, I wouldn't say daily, but very, very often in my preparation of material. You can actually see some of the images that are being generated on the left. And yeah, that dolphin is pink, but that's not that's not the Amazon pink dolphin. That's a bottlenose dolphin, actually. So possibilities are almost endless. But what about the ethical issues? We can't talk about that for hours. And quite frankly, I'm not the right person to talk about ethical issues. I'm a teacher, so I'm just going to focus on my teaching. But there are some controversies. Already we have deep fake images being created and videos. And in a few years' time, we know I'm not going to be able to tell apart the truth. And we already have people submitting AI-generated images and even winning competitions, even though this specific image was done exactly to show that competitions can fall victims to deep fakes. And we've got the music business going to war, I guess, Suno, one of the most famous AI tools for generating music, because Suno was used and was trained using copyrighted material. But again, that's another issue. Not to mention the controversy with Google Gemini, where the bias, gender bias, racial bias, called such a controversy that Google removed the capability of image generation from Gemini completely, at least for the time being. So there's lots of controversy going on, and not to mention the university professors that are really, really having a hard time with that. So what we do, I mean, teachers in the age of AI, do we use these tools? How do we use them? Fortunately, UNESCO has been creating some very useful reports for the past few years. But unfortunately, even though it's been generating these very interesting reports you can download using this link, which are geared towards teachers and towards students, and they give a lot of very important information. Unfortunately, up to 2023 of all countries, only 26 had integrated AI into the school curriculum. And this is a thing that it has to worry us a bit, because whether we want it or not, we already use AI. Our students are already using AI. So we cannot wait for that. We have to take our chances. And of course, UNESCO gives us special emphasis, rightly so, on ethics for both teachers and for students. So what are the guidelines? What should we take into consideration? First of all, fairness, right? There are a lot of stereotypes involved with AI and how the algorithms work. For example, if we used data and images of male scientists when training these models, then when we ask it using a prompt, generate an image of a scientist working on that thing, then probably it's going to generate images of men. So we've got a bias here. Or if we ask the prompt to generate images of, let's say, rocket scientists, it might only give us images from European people creating rockets, where we know that Asia and India are already doing great strides. So that's based on bias, but this bias is going to cause a lot of controversy and a lot of issues we call the hidden curriculum. It shows you something that gives you the wrong messages. And also we have to take into account the inclusivity that our students have, all students have the same capabilities and the same access to the tools that we use. For example, we know that a lot of the tools, they charge a premium to use more advanced features. So what do we do with the lower income students? Do they get lower class, let's say, lower quality AI tools? That is something that we have to take into account. And of course, when we use AI tools with students, what these tools do with the data they collect. Do they store the data from the students? When we use AI-generated quiz, do they store, what do they do with that data? So we have to take these things into account. Now, when we use this system, again, we have to be quite transparent about how these systems, let's say, use an automated system to correct exercises by students. How does it take decisions? Do we know about that? or is there any bias involved with that? And again, all the outcomes that come from a system where it's assessing students, and we use tools like quizzes, which can create complete interactive quizzes in seconds. What does it do with that data that it collects? So we have to be accountable not only with what happens to the data of our students, but whether we should also trust the generated results and the generated data. For example, if I go back to the example of the pink dolphin, how can I be sure that whatever has been created is correct? And that leads us to what we call a human-centered approach in AI education. AI is an amazing tool, and it can give us some great capabilities. But again, whatever we create, we have to think about it. We have to know the subject very well in order to correct whatever mistakes or biases are in the generated content. Again, the example of the pink dolphin. If we don't know how the pink dolphin looks, we could give that presentation to the students, and they will think that the Amazon dolphin looks like the common bottlenose dolphin. And we create more awkward situations in the classroom, and of course, misrepresentations of the curriculum. So we want them to think critically about AI. We want them to understand how AI works, how AI tool works, and also we want them to learn how to evaluate themselves, whatever AI gives them. And if we try to do, let's say, a Google search, it will give us information about a subject. And if we trust the source, then we can say that that source is reliable. But when you ask AI to give us information on a specific topic, we have no way of knowing whether that's reliable or not. And AI, it lies a lot of the times, you would know. It will give you an answer most of the time, but sometimes it lies. So what we need as teachers, we need constant development. That's a non-stop procedure for us. But especially now with AI becoming so common and spreading so fast, it is imperative to have obligatory teacher training on how to deal with AI tools and its ethical implications and its biases and its limitations, because our students are already using them, either we want it or not. So we have to move with the development of everything. So we have an ethical responsibility on how we treat AI tools and how we create content, but we also have a very important role in promoting these ethical AI practices in the classroom. So this is something that's a non-stop issue. And with the complete development of these tools, it's not a matter of whether we are going to use them, but when we are going to use these tools. And as I said, our students are already using them. So I rushed it to be within my time limit. So let's hope we have some questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandros. I didn't think that was controversial at all. I agree with everything you said. But we got some questions. We got a couple of minutes here. Has anyone got any questions? You can either stick your microphone on, or you can say it in the text, whatever you like, really. Who's got anything to say? Oof, you managed to silence them all.
Can I ask something, or maybe shall I comment on something?
Please do, yes.
Okay. From what I have seen now, Alexandros, thank you very much for sharing this knowledge with us. And now the first thing that comes in my mind is that, number one, we need to have critical thinking skills themselves, us as teachers, let's say as adults, and then how we can encourage our students to, our kids to have these critical thinking skills. Number two, where and how they should be able to look for this information for let's say, reliable information, reliable sources. So maybe that could be the first step, which these two skills are related to the 21st century skills that, of course, the European Union is promoting for all of us, adults and kids. And then maybe go to the next step, which is AI plus the whole story behind it. I would like to have your thoughts as well. I mean, anyone who can share anything about that. So number one is the soft skills, and then maybe the other technical, let's say, more technical skills. Thank you.
I agree 100% with you. I think without, there's a lot of discussion about media literacy, and I think we must make sure that we make a lot of progress in media literacy, and we make sure that we train teachers in media literacy, and then we start using AI tools with the students. Unfortunately, because our students are already using these tools, we cannot do the one first and then the other. We have to run in parallel, unfortunately, because our students are already relying on those. But media literacy, I think that's the most important cornerstone in how we train our students from the early primary education. Because the main problem, and what I predict in a dystopia not far away, is that we're going to give an assignment to our students. They're going to give it to AI. It's going to generate the assignment. It's going to give it to us. We're going to give it back to ChatGPT, let's say, to generate the comments, and then we're going to give that back. So actually, the two AI is going to talk together. So we need them to be more, let's say, literate in what they read, in how they read, in how they understand whatever they read. Okay, hope I answered the question.
Yes, sure. So I think we need to reconstruct all the educational systems in the world in order to catch up with all these changes that rapidly happen in our lives. But yes, I agree with you as well, yeah.
Yes. Anyone else? Else at all? Okay, well, I'm going to move us on. We said we're going to divide you up into breakout rooms. That's a bit of a technical function. Angela's got a big button in front of her screen. And when she hits that big button, you all get zapped off to different rooms. But just before we zap you off, I'm going to hand over to Alexia, who's going to tell you the questions we're going to put to you in your rooms. And Alexia is in charge of the ethics work package for AI Pioneers. So she's important in this. Go on, Alexia.
Thank you, Graham. But actually, so people don't leave, please. You're the important ones here. The talk, I think, was amazing, really thought-provoking, and I really think it did a very good job to just make our minds start racing and thinking about all these things. So it's very related to what we're going to discuss. The three questions we have are, they all start with, is it ethical or not? So is it ethical or not for teachers to use AI to create resources, like the pink dolphin example? Is it ethical or not for teachers to use AI to assess students? And is it ethical or not for students to use AI, as you've mentioned now, to deliver their assignments? So these are the three questions. And the idea is that we're going to be, as Graham said, in these different breakout rooms. We'll have 10 minutes per question. We're going to be fed the questions by Angela, who is also going to split us up. And ideally, there will always be someone from our group in the breakout rooms, but ideally, one of you will be the moderator, no? Because we really want to know your opinions. And what we would like is for you to have a really short summary of, what you were discussing for each question. So then when we come back here and we're all together, you can tell us and we can have an idea of what you really think about these questions. And I really liked what Alexandro said. He said, I'm not the right person to talk about ethical issues. No, I'm a teacher, but I feel most of us feel this way. And actually, because AI is moving so fast and policy is lagging behind, it's really, really interesting to hear your views. So I really hope you will participate. And did I miss something, Graham?
No.
Okay.
I think you should have a big button saying join for your breakout rooms. So let's hit that button and zoom off.
Our group, in our group, we had people teaching junior students, like primary school students, and also adult students. And it was very interesting to distinguish between, let's say, the two groups. Like, for example, the young children are somehow obliged to do the homework, obliged to go to school. So they have to find a way to do the assignments in the correct way or in the wrong way. That's another issue. Let's have another webinar for that. And the adult learners are there because they want to be there. So somehow they don't really, I don't know, maybe the lady who is here who shared this opinion as an adult trainer can add to that. So the adult learner is not that, let's say, eager to cheat and find the easy way to use the AI. So that's a good point to have in mind. I don't know if the trainer who is here would like to add more. I think it was Miss Yula, if she wants to share.
It's exactly what you said. I'm talking about adults, not the students in the university, but older people who are now working and they want to learn something because they're going to use it at their work or at their everyday life. So they want to be there. They don't want to cheat the system. They want to learn. That's the difference that I find. So they use AI, but they use it to learn. They use it to help them to learn something. That's what I find different from younger students. I don't know.
Anyone else?
You
From
mean
our
like
group, sorry.
the next session, or Spirula, did you finish your wrap up?
I will provide some space to colleagues to share, and then I will come back.
Okay. Maybe. Okay, thank you. Yes, in our session, we talked, of course, about what to do when resources you create or materials you create with AI might be wrong, or the content, how to handle that, and who's responsible for the created content. And of course, if teachers create content for the students, and of course they have to check if the information is correct and everything, and have a look at the books or anything, quote the original sources. And of course, we also talked about if it's ethical to assess students with AI. And of course, it's a very controversial topic to talk about. And also, of course, students' data are entered in, and how should we deal with that? And we came to the conclusion that we are still very worried to use AI to assess students. But Alexia, maybe you want to add something as well?
I think an interesting point that was made was from a special education teacher, for both for the creating resources and the assessment, the creating resources, that if you are a special education teacher, you have to create almost all your resources because they're adapted to your students. So AI can help a lot. And then with the assessment, that I think it's even more complicated when you think about special education. No, I think in assessment we're more cautious. No, we were leaning against, and for resources, I think we were more open towards creating resources. I don't know where we landed at the end about question number 3. Well, access to the AI tools, the same good AI tools is important. And then the value system, of the students and how they're going to use them.
But Naya, if you want to add something as well, you can do that, of course, feel free.
Yeah, can I say something for our group? Just very, very briefly. We ended up that the teachers now need 2 new sets of skills. First is, of course, how to use those tools, mostly like prompting engineering. But the most important skills what they need is they need to have a critical thinking of what AI gives them and produce. And not only for them, but they need to teach this skill also to their students. To be critical against AI. Participants mostly are supporting that we can use AI to develop. It's ethical to use AI to develop resources. They are more concerned about how ethical is to use AI for assessment. And they are thinking that very briefly, because we had only 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes to discuss about that, is that they believe that using allowing students to do assignments with AI, it's something we need to learn to live with that. I don't know if Enrico and Francesco mostly want to add something. I forgot. Yeah, that's me. Thank you. Who's next? I don't know. If someone.
May I say something based on question number 2 here? We know, at least in schools like in Cyprus or in Greece, where we have mixed ability classes, we know that we have usually 3 or more different levels of students in our classes. So one of the main benefits of AI right now is that we can very easily create differentiated content for these students in a fraction of the time it will take otherwise. And truth be told, we don't usually create that content because of the time it takes. I mean, even a test, even a good test, it takes a lot of time. But in a fraction of the time, we can create a test for the average students, a test for the really exceptional students, and a test for the students which require more time. And it's up to us then to go over what's generated to make sure that the generated tests are suitable for our students. And again, even with that, it's still much easier and much faster to create this content. So for the first time, we could really say that differentiated learning is within the grasp of reality, at least in the concept of the schools we have in Greece and Cyprus. So that's one of the main benefits of using AI tools to generate content for our students. Thank you.
Yes, in our group, we have our colleague Lisa Murphy that will speak about her own views. Lisa. I don't know if she's in. Okay, so Liana, sorry. Can you speak?
Not at the second.
Okay, maybe she is in the classroom because there was people getting in the classroom. So she was very keen to use the tools. She is a mathematical teacher, and
Well,
she's
it's good
very,
to talk to someone in practice, isn't it? That's
yeah.
really live practice.
The students were coming in the class, so she's working with 17 and 18 years old students, and she's using a lot AI for producing content and for exercise, etc. But she's moderating all this, so she thinks it interesting and not so unethical to use these tools for producing content and for producing materials that the teachers can use, but at the same time, not so ethical, she says, to use AI for assessment and for students to make their assignments also. It's not, it is more critical. Even though in our room we had discussions on this question of maybe none of it is ethical because we are using these technologies for facilitating the work of teachers and students. And so the process of critical thinking, creativity, etc., can be damaged depending on the age. And I think the age topic, in what age frame you are for using these kind of technologies can be more or less ethical, let's say, because you are an adult, you are a teacher, you have more critical thinking, you are an expert learner at the same time, and then you can better be a pioneer using these tools. And if you are a student, you need the frames, you need the teacher's orientation, etc. So that was a little bit what we discussed. I don't know, Gedra, if you want to add something. You were in the room too.
Thanks. I think you covered the main aspects. Maybe what was important is that Liana was a mathematics teacher, so we discussed that in this subject, you can use AI, students can use AI to solve numbers or some tasks, but when it comes to problem solving, when learners need to use their critical thinking more and the higher cognitive knowledge, then AI might not help them, let's say, and this is up for a teacher to lead through this process. Also, I think we had interesting discussion about the assessment when it came to the feedback and how easy it is to lose the content, the context of learners. And yeah, we had only one Liana from participants, but we had so many interesting insights, I think, and even Liana was sharing that she had a lot of things to reconsider now and to reflect on. So thank you a lot.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Then I think it's 11 minutes past 4 now. Past school, the closing time. And I thank you all for coming. I don't think we've solved any of the problems today, but it was an excellent discussion. And plenty to take away and plenty to think about. And hopefully we'll get this written up and we will feed it back to you again. For you to come back, because I think this isn't a discussion which is going to be solved by 3 or 4 experts getting into a room in Brussels or Strasbourg. I think it's an ongoing discussion within the community of teachers and developers and managers in schools, and not forgetting students in schools, which I think would be extremely interesting if we could organize it. And I'll talk to people about this. I would love to do an online panel of students, of learners around this, and I think we get some new perspectives again. in that situation. So that's all from me. Lisa, Anna, you want anything else to say?
Yeah, I want to say to the Portuguese guys that we should meet and make some events together. And I urge all the other to join their national networks. I see Italians around, and there is a network in Italy, and the same for Greece and Cyprus. So please get together around your own country networks and join our LinkedIn page.
Yes. Thank you all very much for joining today. It was very interesting, all of the diverse insights and comments and everything. And also, Alexandros, thank you very much for doing the keynote presentation today. I think it was a very fruitful seminar today for everybody. I hope so. So have a nice evening, everybody. And that might be it then. Hope to see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Alessandro.
Bye bye.
Thank you,
Very
Alexander.
good.